doing a fucking Welsh bollocks, I can tell you that for nothing. Or I can just be like, hello, welcome to podcast blah. Anyway, hello and welcome to podcast number 48, or blah. In other words.
Pedro de Guith, I can't even say it.
Exactly, blah. My name's Henry Cooper, he's Gareth Evans.
You didn't do the middle name.
Yeah, but that's because
I
can't give myself a middle name, because that's lame. It's like giving yourself a nickname, like going into school. It's like, I want to be called Danger Man. It's like, no.
It would be awesome if you called yourself Henry Danger Man Cooper.
Wouldn't
that be the best?
It's like the lamest thing ever.
Henry Danger Man Cooper. That's it now. It's sticking. I'm using that every week now.
See, you can say it. I'm not allowed to give myself a nickname, or maybe this was part of my elaborate plan. Anyway, after all that bollocks, this is supposed to be podcast 48. We are talking about gaming things, in case you didn't know. Red Dead retirement is a thing that may be happening, which is I just wanted to use that phrase.
That turn of phrase.
There you go. Rod Fergusson is joining Blizzard, and the future of Diablo and Gears of War is unknown. Who knows what's going to happen? A little bit of chit chat about what we've been playing. Yeah. The Discord questions, which is a regularly occurring segment, and it's probably my favourite segment, to be honest, although we don't have too many today. Then followed by the Triggered Fanboy comment, which is a close contender for the best segment of the show.
Yes.
The Triggered Fanboy.
It is.
Then some regular YouTube comments. Some of them might be funny, some of them might not be. And then a bad dad joke to close us out. But first, we're going to talk about Red Dead retirement and Dan Houser leaving Rockstar. Do you know anything about this? Have you read anything about this?
I heard I hear all the headlines just go through me, but yeah, I heard it. Dan Houser's left. He's been. Tell us about him. Like, is he one of the big guys, right?
He's pretty important in that he is one of the two co-founders of Rockstar, and Rockstar.
He is quite important.
Yeah, Rockstar are the guys behind games like Red Dead and GTA. They're the big ones. He has been in the company since 1998, so it's over 2 decades worth of experience. And he was the vice president of Rockstar and worked as a writer and producer on loads of different titles, including Bully, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, and Max Payne 3, and wrote/co-wrote pretty much every GTA game. Mm-hmm. And so basically, if you like Rockstar games, you like this guy. He does stuff that you like. But it has been announced, he hasn't technically announced, it has been announced that he is leaving Rockstar and Take-Two, who is the parent company. And it was kind of nonchalantly said. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to call it an announcement. Take-Two published a document on their website which had like blah, 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 blah. Here's some shareholder information kind of thing, business stuff. And then there's just a tag which says, yeah, he's leaving. That's it. Pretty much. So the line is, after an extended break beginning in the spring of 2019, Dan Houser, Vice President Creative at Rockstar Games, will be leaving the company. Dan Houser's last day will be on March 11th, 2020. We are extremely grateful for his contributions. Rockstar Games has built some of the most critically acclaimed and commercially successful game worlds, a global community of passionate fans, and an incredibly talented team, which remains focused on current and future projects. That's it. That's all they've said. When they've been contacted by media outlets, they've not had anything to say. They've kept stum.
It's weird, that, isn't it? You don't think there's something more to that?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, weird in the sense like there's definitely more information to this, but not weird in the sense that Take-Two, they're a huge company.
Did it the way they did.
Yeah, they're gonna keep it secret. It's in character for them, but it is kind of odd because surely you'd say why that one of your head honchos is leaving.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the OG creators of the whole Rockstar. I mean, this company was founded by this dude. Houser is a Brit, apparently. He's a Cockney from London.
Yeah, he is. He went to, but he's not just a scummy little Cockney. He went to the University of Oxford, so he's obviously quite a smart chap.
Yeah.
Although Wikipedia, as you've got there, says that he's either 45 or 46. So he's got. They don't quite know.
Yeah, keeping it a bit close to his chest there.
His brother, the other co-founder, who is president of Rockstar, he's staying on. Sam Houser is sticking around with whatever is going on with Take-Two and Rockstar.
It's weird. There's something not being told. Like in the way that it's come out, it smells fishy to me. And there's usually, like, if we compare this to the next announcement, which was like someone else is leaving the coalition to go and work with Blizzard. That was an announcement done in a totally different way. It was open with it on social media and announcing it and celebrating it and getting like everybody's, it was a two-way street. Everyone's, it's a conversation. Whereas the way that this has been done, this is not right. There's something going on. Something's happened here, right? Something has happened.
Yeah, it's just a regular document that serves another purpose. It's not like an official statement. It's just a document
it's very cloak and dagger, and it implies that something else is going on. It doesn't mean that anything like nefarious. It might just be that he's had enough and decided this and not come out and said it, or certainly. He might, there might be other issues involved that I don't want to really speculate on. But there's more to this story, that's for sure.
Definitely. The interesting kind of follow-up to this, which will help illustrate how important Dan Houser is in terms of people's perception of the company that Rockstar is. Take-Two's stock slumped the day after the announcement. It dropped 6% overnight, which is quite a substantial thing, just for one guy leaving.
But for a big company, 6% is a huge wad.
And that's equal to about $800 million in stock.
Wowza.
So that's a hefty amount. Again, just one guy.
Over $750 million because this guy's leaving.
So, what the hell have I written there? Oh, yeah. So Rockstar, because they're massively successful, and Dan Houser has had such a huge influence on that, he could be argued personally is responsible for why Take-Two is doing so well. And I've got a graph here. I'll try and remember to throw it up on the video. If you're watching, if you're listening, you're just going to have to use your imagination. So there's this chart.
It goes like that. And then down, like that. That's in case you want. If you're watching, if you're listening,
it's even worse if you're listening now. It goes like that.
I just illustrated it with my finger. So
well, basically, it
goes from down to up, essentially, like any good graphs do.
Like a good spreadsheet graph thing. So this comes from Yahoo Finance, but I nicked it from GamesIndustry.biz, and it basically illustrates that around 2013 time, which coincidentally is when GTA 5 launched, and we've all heard of that. It's like the biggest game in the world. Things start to steadily go up for the company, and they shoot up to where they are now. And then there's kind of a bit of a drop off. But you can undeniably say that is the launch of Red Dead. GTA 5 is where things start to climb, and then they go up again when Red Dead launches, and. So Rockstar are hugely important, and therefore Dan Houser was hugely important in what Take-Two are doing and how successful they are.
GTA 5 being the biggest grossing entertainment product of all time, and it's still going strong. It's in the top.
It's constantly in the top 10.
It's the top 3. It's the third most sold game of all time, but all the added microtransactions and all the other money they make off it, they made more money off that than anything else, and it's always in the top 5 most sold at any one point. If you look at the charts, it's still selling well now, and it was first released in 2013 on old consoles. It's ridiculous,
and it's actually a good game.
It's a solid game.
It's not just shit. The GTA Online stuff is full of microtransactions. There's full of hackers and stuff, but the actual core game is really good. Now, I know you said you didn't want to speculate, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
There's questions of why did he leave, and the clean, kind of safe answer is, he's just going to retire. He's made some very, 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 very successful games. Now he's
45, 46. He's been there 20 years. Maybe
it's a little early, but it's not unheard
of. Bit of an early retirement,
especially if you're for someone being that successful. Retiring from like full-time work, he'd probably go off and do some other extra little projects, especially if he's creative and like a writer. But yeah, he's done so many massively successonly projects. He's got money. He probably doesn't ever have to work again. No. He probably will want to do something because he's only in his 40s.
He's got enough money to retire, that is for sure.
Yeah, totally. Then there's a question of whether or not he's overworked, because there was the whole crunch story that came out late last year.
Yeah.
Following the development of Red Dead Redemption 2, and there was a big kind of...
and it was the writers, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of scrutiny on the Rockstar development team who were working on Red Dead 2, and he came out and said, Dan Houser said that it was the core writing team, of which he was included.
Yeah.
And I think there was like 4 or 5 of them who were said to be doing about 100-hour weeks.
Yeah.
And the narrative at the time was that everyone working on Red Dead was doing it, doing that sort of workload. But then he came out and was like, no, it's just us, core influential team. But either way, that's a lot of work. And maybe he's just tired. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Well, there's speculation that GTA 6 is in the works, right? And so if that is the case, he just want to go through that again, because it's taking its toll. You work for 20 years in this one pattern, and it wears you out. You're rich enough, just take a step back. Why not? Yeah,
exactly. And with I've just lost my train of thought. It's going to come back. No. No, it's gone. Hopefully it'll come back later. If it doesn't, whatever. Then there's
probably not important.
The more probably not. If it is important, it'll come back. Then there's the more controversial thing, completely based on no evidence, but it's if this is the juicier one, which is what if he was pushed out or kind of asked to leave by Take-Two, who are their parent company. Yeah. Because while Rockstar are, massive in their own right, they still have people to answer to in Take-Two. So there's kind of been rumors that Take-Two have been wanting Rockstar to publish games more frequently and more rapidly because it takes them a long time because their games are so huge. Yeah. The dev time between each GTA is, as we said...
Well, we're talking 7 years.
Exactly. It came out in 2013. And then between Red Dead 1 and Red Dead 2 I think that was like 6 or 7 years as well. Yeah. So there's rumors about that. But again, nothing concrete, and I'm not trying to say that there is anything.
I wouldn't say... Personally, looking at it myself, and if you weigh up the evidence that GTA 5 is the most, we just discussed it, the most profitable entertainment product of all time, blah, 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 I don't see that being any sort of factor in Take-Two's decision to maybe put pressure on Dan Houser to make more games, because they've proven that this essentially a single-player core game. Obviously, they've branched out into multiplayer, which made it more lucrative, but it doesn't mean that they can't make enough money off that game just because it's 7 years in the making, or 7 years since the last one.
But they are one of these enormous companies, and if they think they can make more, they're always going to want to. I mean, 1 billion isn't enough. They need all the billions. All the billions. There could be things like creative differences, which it will be the most interesting idea, because if he's one of the chief creatives at Rockstar and he's no longer there, that could spell disaster for the future of Rockstar if one of their key creative forces is no longer part of that creative process. Yeah. But again, there's no evidence of this. We don't know. And one other option is that he could just want to go out on his own and do something if he's not retiring, if he's staying active potentially in the games industry, or maybe going to do another creative project or another business venture, because he's a very, very successful producer. Yeah. So he could transfer.
He could walk in anywhere.
Literally.
He could walk in any company anywhere.
Or he could start up his own indie studio, because he's got expertise, 2 decades of experience and writing experience, and he could put out an offer for anything, and anyone would take it.
Start as a new studio, have total creative freedom like he might have done in the very beginning before Take-Two all got involved, and maybe he wants to go down his own route without being confined by the expectations of a big publisher. Yeah, that's a reasonable assumption. The fact that he just wants more freedom and be able to work on his own.
He could get swept up by another studio, because again, he's such a veteran talent, a very experienced
There are studios hiring now, right?
Exactly, and Microsoft are hoovering up loads of different ones. You know where this is going. I love this segue because it goes really well. Maybe he's going to go work at the Coalition.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opening there now, right?
Yeah, because the Coalition, who make the Gears of War games, Microsoft's wholly owned studio, they've just lost their studio lead because he's bugger enough to go work at Blizzard. Why he wants to do that, I've got no fucking idea. But anyway, that guy is Mr. Rod Fergusson, and his announcement was much more personal. It was a statement on Twitter saying, I love everyone here. I'm going to go start this new chapter. Thanks for all supporting me. Thanks, my friends, all that crap.
Yeah, he's been there for years and years.
Yeah, right? He's been... so Gaz spoke about it on the Daily Triple. So we're not going to go into loads of detail, but to kind of just recap it. He's been in the Gears of War development process since the beginning, since 2006. He left for a bit to go work on some other stuff, then came back and formed the coalition under Microsoft, because originally Gears was a Epic product, and then Microsoft bought the IP from Epic and then made their own studio to carry on the IP. The coalition itself has made 3 Gears games in total, which is Gears 4, 5, and the remake of Gears 1, which I think is called Gears Ultimate or something like that. So Rod Fergusson is now moving over to Blizzard specifically to oversee Diablo. And there are 2 upcoming Diablo games to my knowledge. There is Diablo 4, which is what everyone wants, and Diablo Immortal, which no one wants. So my immediate question is, why would anyone want to go to Blizzard right now? I mean, he's probably had this like interview process kind of thing going on for ages. He's been speaking to them. But with everything going on at Blizzard, he must be like, oh, shit.
It's a strange one because, there's a lot of controversy at Blizzard right now. Blizzard probably already had a director for those for the Diablo franchise. He's leaving like the lead. He's the lead developer or the head of the coalition. Whatever, he's moving to be another head of a different game. He's worked on Gears games, which is like a third-person cover shooter, to a Diablo franchise, which is more of an isometric RPG type of thing. So he doesn't have really, I mean, I don't know personally, but I can assume that he doesn't have as much experience as maybe the guy who's already working on Diablo, that he's going to be pushing that guy out. What's that guy going to be doing now? The other day, I probably should have researched what the other guy's name was, but he's got to be slotted in somewhere. And where does he fall in?
I think it's going to be more in terms of day-to-day management of the studio and production, because Gears 5 was a much more successful launch than Gears 4, because I think Gears 4 came out and it did fine, but not as well as Microsoft wanted it to do. And then Gears 5 came out and they were much happier. They were boasting 3 million players in the opening weekend, and it's got a more for lack of a better word, contemporary monetization model. It's got what do they call it? It's like it's a battle pass basically. They got every kind of monetization in there. So maybe Blizzard are looking for that kind of studio mentality of the live service thing, and doing that successfully in terms of profitability. Gears 5's monetization's all over the fucking place. They keep changing it. But in terms of a monetizable game, they might want that sort of angle for this new position for him to oversee Diablo 4. And Diablo Immortal, because that's the mobile one, and that's going to be the one that's getting pumped full of microtransactions.
Yeah. I just noticed his Twitter handles @GearsViking. He's probably going about that now.
Yeah, he's
can't change his Twitter handle, can you?
Diablo Viking. Well, no, I mean, doesn't really work. But anyway, Blizzard's never really been lower in terms of public opinion, because they have the whole. Do you guys have phone things with Diablo Immortal when that was announced? And then the most recent drama, which is the Warcraft 3 Reforged stuff, which we've covered.
It was the Blitzchung thing as well.
Talking about for ages. The Blitzchung thing as well, which I completely forgot about. So they're gonna need a win, and maybe they're gonna try and do that with Diablo 4. But that's not coming out for ages. It doesn't even have a release window, and it's kind of tentatively expected in 2021. So before that, presumably, we will get Diablo Immortal. So I don't know what they're trying to do there. Are they going to use all this bullshit monetization from Gears 5 in Diablo Immortal? Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's a weird place for.
I don't know. It's I don't know. Again, speculation and pulling shit out of thin air like we do here. I think that is getting a big payday to go over. Maybe Blizzard. Maybe that's what Blizzard want. Another director in charge, so that to avoid this kind of bullshit. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe they just want to change the narrative, or just scapegoat somebody else.
They're just throwing bodies at the situation.
We've had enough of this shit. Let's blame somebody else.
But my next kind of point of interest is what's the future for Gears if it doesn't have its studio head anymore. What's next for that franchise? Because as I just said, Gears 5 was a pretty successful launch. Did pretty well. It's not perfect. It's got it's sort of halfway between being the best one and the worst one. It's really weird. I think I've done a review for it. Go find it. It's somewhere in the channel backlog. But Matt Booty, which I'm just going to let that hang.
Matt Booty.
The head of Microsoft Studios says the Coalition and Gears are both in safe hands. They're going to be completely fine. So speaking to Games Industry Biz, he said, "We have a lot coming up with Gears 5. We have new operations, content, and maps. We have new DLC plans. There's a bunch of things that are going to be that we're going to be delivering for Gears 5 throughout 2020. So there you go. He's trying to confirm that 2020 Gears 5 is going to have a load of stuff, which is kind of what you want for a live service game, and that it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, she's your general PR speaking it. Everyone calm down. Everything's going to be fine. Don't get hysterical. This is fine.
Yeah, it's like, the king's dead, but don't worry. We promise there's going to be a prince to take over in a bit. But then another one, which I completely forgot about, a Gears game called Gears Tactics, which is just an XCOM clone. Like, it looks exactly the same. Yeah. But that's not to say it doesn't look good. It does look like quite fun. It's set to come out in April the 28th specifically. And it's pretty much finished development, they said. And it's not actually developed by the Coalition themselves. They're like helping. But the main developer is Splash Damage. And it boasts a 40-hour story, which is great because Gears it's one of the few remaining games which does a proper campaign, which they take really seriously, and a proper multiplayer, which they take really seriously. Most games kind of do either or these days, but Gears is one of the last ones to still try and do both. It's meant to be set in the early years of the Locust War, so before Gears 1, it's like 12 years before Gears 1 or something like that. Lots of customization, and it's said to be brutal. They specifically list the word brutal in the trailer, which is what you would expect from a Gears game. Unlike the other new one, well, I think it's out now, Gears Pop, which is the mobile one, which is again a sort of pseudo strategy game. It's a Clash Royale clone, which no one asked for. I mean, Funko Pops. The head of the publishing company asked for it, Henry. That's the one that wants to make all the money, right? I think he didn't even ask for it. He was just like, make me money.
Make me money.
So someone typed in, what do the kids like? Funko Pops.
What makes money in the games industry? Yeah. It's the mobile games. Let's make a mobile game. Oh man,
it's something. I haven't played it, and I have no intention to. But from what I can gather from watching people's reviews and reading stuff, it's just the same as any other mobile game with a bunch of premium currencies and loot boxes that they don't call loot boxes, and eventually you reach a plateau of progression, and you can't get anywhere unless you pay more, and then. It's all the pay to win bollocks. It's just the same as any other fucking mobile game.
I think the main thrust of this game, the only thing that makes sense for me, is they're trying to capture new entries to the franchise, like younger kids, by playing a mobile game. They're just pitching to the young kids in order so that they get familiar with the franchise, so that when they get older, Gears of War 6, Gears of War 7, Gears of War, and so on, they do well because people are already familiar with that IP.
Yeah,
that's what makes sense. Because otherwise, who the fuck wants Gears Pop?
You're investing in a long.
It's a long term. It's Microsoft, though, isn't it? It's Microsoft. True. It's Microsoft's long-term goal. I mean, they realized they fucked up at the start of this this console generation, and they lost ground. So they're just looking at the long game now. They're buying up all these development studios. They've got like 13 plus or whatever now. They're making games. They're starting to make games which might start coming out in 3 years' time. So. They're playing the long game. That's what this is.
Definitely. And I saw on Twitter this morning, and I was supposed to put it in my notes, but I didn't. Cliff Bleszinski, the former...
Blitzinski.
Yeah.
Getting blitzed. Sorry, I'm just being a child.
There's just... the former... director of the Gears franchise back when it was with Epic Games. He now doesn't do anything anymore.
Because he retired after the failure of...
After Lawbreakers, and that's still quite a sour note.
It was not Lawbreakers, it was Radical Heights.
Yeah.
It failed. His fell on his arse, and he picked his ball up and he went home.
Yeah, and I love him on Twitter. He's great fun.
He's the best. He's such a sorrow, he's a sorrow miss from the industry. Yeah. It's like he brings light to that.
He doesn't give a shit. And he dips into pop culture every now and then, like sort of a week late, and it's like, oh, this is a thing. Oh, cool, I'm out. And then he always tweets stuff like, people don't seem to understand that I don't make games anymore because I made so much money that I just don't need to anymore. Yeah. And I hated doing it towards the end. But anyway, he tweeted some stuff which I thought was interesting, saying, even if I gave 3 pages of notes on the Gears 6 take, I'd wager the perception around the community would be lovely. There's one thing they haven't got to. That I wanted so bad for Gears 4, but they never did. Ugh. So he's kind of floating the idea about he's not going to come back. You could pay him all the money in the world, he won't come back.
He's actually spoken recently about one of the mistakes he made with Lawbreakers, and he said something along the lines of he made it too woke.
Yeah, something like that.
Which was in the news a couple of days ago. But he's talking a lot more about games now, and I feel like he's one of those characters that will just out of the blue return.
Yeah, he'll do it overnight.
Yeah, he'll just come and return to the industry.
He'll get an email from Phil Spencer over at Microsoft being like, right, look, we want you back, and he'll be sitting in bed and like, hey honey, what have I got planned for tomorrow? Nothing. All right, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
There's a vacancy at the Coalition now.
There's another tweet here from him saying, offer still stands to consult on the Gears franchise, Microsoft. Your move.
There you go. He wants a door in again.
Real work. Just
listen to what I say and do everything that I say.
Right. See that gun? Put a bigger chainsaw on it. Right. I love Cliff Bleszinski. I love Gears of War. It's in an interesting place.
He says dick things, but that's what makes him so fun to report on, right?
Yeah, he's a personality.
He says some cool stuff as well. None of that $60 free to play bullshit.
Yeah.
Or something, when he went on stage on that one time and said what everyone was thinking.
If he was still at Gears, it wouldn't have shit monetization, I could tell you that, because he would have let it get cancelled before that shit happened. Anyway, that's kind of the extent of my notes on these two industry icons leaving their various positions. Maybe they'll one day team up together. Maybe Dan Houser's going to go work for Blizzard too.
A lot of movers and shakers, and you would think that these big industry execs are making, and just not execs, they're just like studio leads, but they're making these. They're valuable, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like they're making these big games, and they're making a lot of money for these companies. So being headhunted by rival companies, you would expect that to happen more often. It happens in industry all the time in big business. Yeah. The fact that what's his name goes from the Coalition to Blizzard, it's relatively unheard of, but it should be.
I think at some point we're going to get to the level it's at with the film industry, where you'll have directors who regularly work with studios, but they're not tied into it.
Chris Avellon's one.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of freelance directors in a way.
Like a writer who just jumps from project to project and just consults on things.
Because that gives he has all the power over what he works on.
Yeah.
He can pick and choose his projects.
He's a legend, though, so
yeah,
you got to be legend status before you can do that, Mr. Fucking Bleszinski.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, things could be in an interesting place for Gears and Rockstar and Diablo.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
A lot of speculation. In those, and we don't know why things are happening, but we can just say why we think they're happening and just kind of speculate.
Oh, because these news, the Rockstar one came up the other day when I was preparing one of the daily triples, and I was like, it's not a daily triple story. It's just he's left, but it's a bit more of a talking point, which is why the podcast is good for these sorts of conversations. But anyway, that's it.
That's it
for that section.
Let's move on to our next section. What have we been playing? Now, Henry, you finished Final Fantasy VII.
I did.
I played OG Fantasy
a 20-year-old game.
Not the new one.
Yeah. No,
Calm down.
Well, Square Enix haven't even finished the new one. I finally finished it.
So what have you been doing with your time now?
I was on about 38-ish hours. Many of that was spent in the final gauntlet of enemies, where it's just every single step you take, they're just like, no, here's a giant monster that's going to one-shot you every time, and you're going to burn through all of your health items in one go. I had a great time. I eventually almost did it, and then my Switch crapped out on me and decided to end its to cancel the processes and everything. So I had to start again. I was really scared it had corrupted my save file because I was not ready for that. Like if it had happened, I just wouldn't have finished it. I would have put it down and never touched it again. Yeah, I finished it in the end. Loved it. I had a great time. Wish I had played it sooner, but so things go.
There you go.
But now I've moved on to a game called Limbo, which I think we talked about recently in one of our Discord questions. I think our CEO Simulator question. Now, I bought it on PSN. I wanted it on Switch so that I could play it portably. But I got it on PSN for $7.50, and it included Inside as well, which is made by the same people. Limbo and Inside are very similar.
Playdead Games.
Playdead, that's it. So in case you don't know, Limbo, it came out, I think, in 2010. And it's like a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer, but it's very simple in terms of its mechanics, and there's next to no plot. You're just a little boy kind of lost in the woods type situation. You're looking for your sister or something. But it's got a very grim aesthetic, and it's like visually striking. It's all black and white, all shadowy and artistic. But I'm having a great time. It's very simple, very short. I haven't finished it yet, but it's only a few hours long.
Yeah.
But I got 2 games for $7.50, and I was like, well, it'd be rude not to.
It's a classic. I haven't played all of Limbo, but I've played through all of Inside, and that is a classic. So just from a timescale point of view, 2010 was when Limbo was released. 2016 was when Inside released, which is kind of surprising considering that they're both independent games, and they're the only 2 games that this company have ever developed. So 6 years to work on Inside is a bit of a long time frame. But Inside is
and they're
class product. Quite
similar.
Yeah. So it's like 4 years since Inside now. There should be a new game coming soon. I've just had a look at the website. There's 45 people working at the at Playdead now, so they are still an independent-sized company. They've not grown that much, but I've got vacancies for 6 people, including game technology programmer, VFX artist, senior systems programmer, speculative applications, senior 3D artist, experience level designer, gameplay designer, and graphics programmer. And
so if you're looking for a dev work in Copenhagen, then you know where to go.
Or where's that LT? Vilnius LT. Two different locations apparently.
Where's
that's
that?
Lithuania.
Well, there you go.
Vilnius. So there's 2 locations, 45 devs currently, 6 people. So they're looking at expanding to 51. I mean, obviously they're working on something, and it's going to be something of the same kind of.
It's going to be moody. It's going to be depressing. It's going to be minimalist.
It's weird, right? I don't want to spoil Inside for you, but that's such a unique, strange game. I'm not sure what Limbo is like in comparison in terms of the story of it, but Inside is special. So these special crafted stories I take a lot of thinking about. Even after you've finished playing it, it still hooks you, and you're thinking about what's happened, the experience you've gone through. Those kind of experiences can't be done overnight, especially with a small indie team like this. Yeah,
Limbo is very, very, very minimal story. It's way more about like tone and atmosphere. Like not only is there no like voice acting or dialogue, there's no like text.
Oh, that's the same in Inside.
Yeah, it's just you're a boy alone in the woods getting chased by enormous spiders, which are really creepy, and there's like sort of lost children in there as well. It's really cool, really interesting. I definitely recommend it, although I think the PSN sale has just ended,
so tough
you might have missed out. But yeah, $7.50 for 2 games, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Have you been playing anything interesting?
Well, I don't know if I should talk about this now, but I've still been playing Graveyard Keeper. I'm even more further into it now. I spent all weekend playing it because I was in the seating section of watching my daughter compete in a swimming thingy. Literally a whole weekend swimming event, and I was just playing the Switch on the side, watching in between her races. So yeah, I've been playing Graveyard Keeper. Other than that, I tried out a early access game. Now this is called Rustler. I played it in the office, and I was thinking about maybe throwing a few. It's kind of half a thought about a video, really. Throw in a few impressions together about upcoming indie type games. So I don't know whether I should talk about this now or wait until a different video. But I think I might save it because I've only got half an impression.
Give like the elevator pitch. What is it?
So Rustler, right? Like, hear me out. It's a GTA style game, but set in the Middle Ages. So you're literally a gangster set in the Middle Ages, going around crossbowing people, robbing them, killing knights. Yeah, stealing horses instead of
Grand Theft Horsing.
Yeah, Grand Theft Horses. Yeah, and that's it. And this game is upcoming. It's from a relatively unknown studio, although you might have heard of one of the previous games, Jutsu Games, and they're the ones who published 911 Operator, and that's a pretty well received game. That's done pretty well, but I'm not sure where they're based. I think they're based in the East somewhere. But yeah, they've got a half decent track record, and I've played this game, and it's not one of those throwaway shitty games.
Yeah,
I'll say that for certain. It's got decent mechanics, and it plays relatively well. So check it out. If you want me to do like a full, because I've got access to it, a full kind of rundown in a separate video or whatever, just let us know, because I've got my eye on this now, having played it, and I think it's worth talking about. So it's basically classic GTA top-down viewpoint, not over-the-shoulder third-person thing, and yeah, it's you're stealing horses and you're stabbing knights and stuff, and they come chasing you just like they do in the original GTA games. So if you want that like authentic, vintage kind of gameplay experience with a smattering of good humor to boot, then stick it on your wish list.
Well, especially if GTA might be changing without Dan Houser, we might need something else to step up.
This is where Dan Houser's going.
This is where, he's going to go work for Jutsu Games or whatever they're called.
But there you go. Yeah, just a brief snapshot of what I was playing, but not really going into. I've got a few notes already compiled, and I think I might save that for a separate video, because I want to kind of try and branch out into new types of format. Yeah, we're doing the daily triple news, which is a staple of the channel now. We're doing the podcast, which come every single week. But in order to stay interested and dynamic with what we do here on the channel, it's good to experiment with different formats of videos. So I think that's going forward, like early access games that we've got access to that we think are pretty good, that we can share with other people. And I do love indie games anyway as well. So I think that's one of my next ideas in terms of content.
Awesome. Well, speaking of content, the next segment we might as well start now, which is the podcast questions from our Discord members, and you can become a Discord member if you sign up to our Patreon over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You'll get early access to it. You can send us questions, you can send us jokes, you can send us more or less anything. So the first question is a regularly recurring question from Cloney99. We had some controversial shag, marry, kills in the past, so this week it's a bit back to the roots. In honor of Earthworm Ben from our PGG Discord, which you can join for a fifth of the price of a MTV Jamba cost-cutting subscription, remember those, Jamba MTV sub, over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You're always there to plug when necessary, Cloney. We appreciate it. This week is sponsored by Fighting Games. Number 1, Cammy White, aka Killer B, the scantily clad secret agent from Street Fighter working for MI6. Number 2, oh god, Chinese name. Ling Xiao, the young, joyous martial artist who wants to finally build her own amusement park in China from Tekken. What an interesting career choice.
There you
go. Number 3, Jackie Briggs, the daughter of Jax Briggs, hit in just as hard as her father, also fighting with bombs of Mortal Kombat fame.
Okay, so... oh, sorry, you got another line.
So these are Cloney's... no, well on. Yeah, that's actually pretty hard, so I let Ben decide. Maybe we'll get his decision in the comments. I hope so. I like it when people weigh in on these shag, marry, kills, and I don't feel like people do it enough, so get involved.
Yeah, We did have a comment saying in last week's podcast, can you timestamp when Shag, Marry, Kill finishes, please? Because I always want to skip through that. Not really how the timestamps work, sir. So in honor of that guy, I'm going to be quite concise today. I'm going to be, I'm going to be concise today. I will note that it's quite a diverse list of choices this week. We've got the white blonde girl, we've got the Asian dark-haired girl, and we've got the African with braids. Is that what you call it, braids?
Well, one of the pictures she's got dreadlocks. One of them they're like cornrows. Yeah,
cornrows. That's what I meant. So I'm going to shag.
I'm certain we've had Cammy in one of these before.
I'm going to shag Cammy. I'm going to marry what's her name, the Tekken one, Liang Zhao, because she wants to have a theme park, right? And that sounds cool. And I'm just scared of this girl's dad, the Jackie Briggs, because it says that her dad's hard hitting her father, Jax. I'm scared of him already, so I'm not going to get. She's going to die.
Similar sort of reasons, but different conclusions. Shag Cammy because
look at that leotard.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Enough said there. If you don't know what Cammy looks like from Street Fighter, have a look.
Just
you'll
do a quick search.
Unfortunately, Ling Xiao, she's gonna die because I mean, theme parks are cool, but I don't know if it's doing enough for me. But I'm gonna marry Jackie Briggs because Jax Briggs is really cool. I think he's a badass, and I think if he was your father-in-law and you could. Like, it's 50-50 because he could hate you because he's your father-in-law. He's supposed to hate you. But if you get on with him, he'd be really cool to hang out with and just have a beer, you know?
Yeah. I don't drink, so...
lame.
So there you go. Yeah, I'm lame. I'm the most boring bastard in the world. But
then her robot hands could pose certain logistical issues. But, you know, I'm sure they've got multiple... functions. Like, imagine if she was, I don't know.
I wouldn't trust them. Robots, man. Never trust robots, right?
True, but it's only her hands.
Do you not learn anything from watching The Mandalorian?
Yeah, but well, he learns
the droids.
He learns to trust the droid. Did you watch Mandalorian? He learns to trust him. But yeah, so I'm shagging Cammy, killing Ling, and marrying Jackie. You're shagging Cammy as well, but killing Jackie and marrying Ling so you can get your amusement park.
Yeah, you got Mario, you got amusement park in your back doors. Awesome. Anyway, those is our choices. Moving on to Metal Shark's question this week, which is now become a bit of a staple, bit of a risk for this week's quiz. So this is another quiz for Henry. Don't know what Henry's knowledge of guitars is like, but hopefully this helps with the PC Master Race knowledge. So this is from all these choices, Henry has to decide, are they a PC maker or a guitar string brand? Now, this is in honor of, obviously, because I play the guitar, and there's one very specific one here. If you don't get it right, I'm going to be very disappointed. So let's move on. First one, Alutia. Is that a PC maker or a guitar string brand?
Guitar string.
It is a PC maker. UK company making lower power machines for schools in Africa.
I fully thought, it sounds sort of Latin and musical, so maybe it's an old
wrong
music thing. No.
Next up, Black Diamond. Is that a PC maker or a guitar string brand?
A PC maker?
Guitar strings, 0 for 2 so far. Californian company founded in 1890, producing high carbon steel core strings. Next, this sounds pretty easy, right? Clear Tone.
Surely it's a guitar string.
Ding! 1 for 3. Custom core to wrap ratios made using a super high tension winding technique. Congratulations. Next up, Elixir.
PC thing.
Oh my God, Henry. I was sponsored by Elixir for the longest time on my guitar channel. Their guitar strings. I'm disappointed. 1 for 3. 1 for 4. Move on.
I don't play guitar. Why would I know that?
I'm just joking. Calm down. Let's move on. Godin.
One of them's got to be a PC, so I'm going to go PC.
This is guitar strings. That's 1 for 5. Henry. Wow. Canadian guitar maker Robert Godin works with strings makers to create these strings that carry his name. Next up, Hassie, Haswe.
I'm going to go PC again. Eventually, it's going to be
PC.
Right.
Just go PC on all of them. You're going to get half of them right on average, right? So that's 2 from 6. Oasis.
Well, there's the band. So part of me is like, well, why would there be a guitar string named the same name as the band? But fuck it, yeah, the guitar string.
Well done. Ding. 3 for 7.
Is it anything to do with the band?
No, the band was based on a club or something, a nightclub called the Oasis. That's how they were named. Old Oasis fan here. Fun fact,
I'm not.
I started playing guitar by learning Oasis songs. Wonderwall. Everyone knows Wonderwall, right?
Yeah, and I hate that song.
Yeah, well, you know. Let's get the chicks somehow, don't you? Got
a less good version of the Beatles.
And so, Oasis. Next up, we've got 3 left, and you've got, 3 for 7. Olivetti.
Guitar string.
PC maker. First commercial programmable desktop computer. The Programmer 101 was produced by Olivetti in 1964 and was a commercial success. That's 3 for 8. Next up, Origin.
Guitar string.
PC maker.
Well.
Custom personal computer manufacturing company located in Miami, Florida. Don't be Googling these. Next up, Singularity. PC. Congratulations. 4 for 10. Customized PC with custom painting, CNC machining, laser etching, etc.
It's just 50-50 guesses. Like, there's nothing more. Yeah. There's nothing more I can do.
To be fair, I knew Cleartone and Elixir and Oasis, to be fair. So I could have got 3 of them. And I'm a guitar player. So.
And a PC person.
Yeah. So there you go. It was the difficult one, Henry. I don't blame you. No hard feelings, sir. No hard feelings.
I knew I wouldn't do well, and I'm still disappointed in myself. I'm still going to go, flay my back when I get home. Anyway, let's do another recurring question, and this one is a much easier one for me to answer. From Not That Rob Lowe, year 18 of the Game of Ages. So this is a game we've been playing every week for a long time now. Well, 18 weeks apparently.
Yeah.
Where we have to name our favourite game from the year of our birth, which is when it started, and then it goes on and on and on, and we go up the years as we go on. The only stipulation is that we have to have played it, but not necessarily at the time, because who would have played a game when they were, a newborn baby? Rob is 97 for me. What a great year for game releases. A lot of choice, but it can only be Final Fantasy VII for me, possibly my all-time favourite game.
Solid.
Well, I've been really enjoying it as well, so we can be
both
in
enjoy
solidarity.
It together.
There you go. Me, I'm 2013, and things are just getting easier because as the industry gets bigger, just more and more games are pumped out.
And also, it was only like 7 years ago.
Exactly. So starting off, BioShock Infinite, GTA 5, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, the Tomb Raider reboot, Metal Gear Rising, Metro Last Light, DMC Devil May Cry, Saints Row 4, Injustice, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon, Batman Arkham Origins, all of them great games, but it's indisputably The Last of Us.
They're all great, but they're not The Last of Us.
Nothing's The Last. And realistically, that's like probably the simplest, like mechanically, it's a linear sort of third-person shooter with a bit of survival and crafting and shit. But it's just brilliant.
It's got heart and soul as The Last of Us.
It does.
Not that these other games haven't, but you're absolutely right. It's correct. That's one you did get right this week.
Yeah. See, I know I get that one right.
Okay, my year was 1998, and I was 17 turning 18, and I've got them all lined up. Right, so I've got 4 finalists. I've got the top 4, right? So number 4, in 4th place from the year 1998 was Colin McRae's Rally. Played a lot of that game.
I think I played that. Sounds familiar.
It was solid. In 3rd place comes Metal Gear Solid, which is obviously your first choice, right?
Well, I feel like you've missed the pun saying, because you said Colin McRae Rally was solid instead of Metal Gear Solid was solid. Yeah, Metal Gear would be my number 1, unquestionably. I think it was.
Probably was, yeah.
Go
so
back.
In 2nd place was Resident Evil number 2, which is in anybody's book. If anyone's played it, classic.
Yeah.
Okay, and number 1, you might even shout at me if you've never played this game and you've played the others, because Resi 2 and Metal Gear Solid are just like top picks for anyone else. But if you've never played Tenchu Stealth Assassins, you won't know what I'm talking about. Tenchu was the best game of that year, undoubtedly. the best. 3D ninja, kind of jump on the roofs, jump down on top of people, kill them, got a ninja star, you rappel up the roofs, you do the whole ninja thing in a 3D environment for the first time ever. It was the nuts, absolute nuts, and they need to bring it back. And no, Sekiro is not a remake of Tenchu. It's nothing like Tenchu. It was amazing.
Well, I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't
understand. And that's exactly the same response as I expect from everyone else watching this. If you've played it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you'll be like, all right, whatever, Gaz, talking shit again.
Well, maybe Ghost of Tsushima will scratch that itch whenever that eventually comes out. Do you want to take the final question?
Is it my turn?
I think it's the last one.
The final question you're going to have for this week. That was short. Few. Thank you for being kind to it. I'm halfway through an edit. That's the problem. So I'm a little bit distracted this week. So the fact that there's only 4 questions is actually a bonus for me. Not usually. So do throw them in if you. We've got some new members as well this week. So on the Discord. So feel free to throw in questions for the podcast. Don't be shy. Cloning99 says, preservation of games. Are we underestimating the effect of games on history, and why are corporations so against keeping a game alive even after they stop supporting it? We're not asking them to divulge information or pay for the upkeep, just give us the tools to let us play. That's more of a discussion topic though. Relevant because Warcraft 3 Reforged killed Warcraft 3 original community, shutting off Battle.net access for the old system and claiming ownership of custom maps that could be updated to the current system. It's a good discussion point. There was something in the news this week about Flash games because Adobe is ceasing support for Flash as of this year. And all those old Flash games, like the mini clip games and everything that everyone played when they were, either when they were a kid or like a few years ago, they're all being unsupported. So there's a big drive now to try and support them. And I think they're available somewhere. You can download them all. There
was like 30,000 downloadable Flash games or something.
Yeah, so that is quite a relevant topic because of that's happening at the moment. So preservation of games, because in this day and age, you don't get games on a disc necessarily anymore. So they're all in the cloud, and once someone turns the switch off or access is denied, they're gone, and they're gone forever. So you can see that happening more and more, and these games are getting lost to the ages. So it's funny because I was at all my weekends are taken up by swimming events, by the way, if you hadn't realised that already. I was in a swimming event in Sheffield not so long ago. And right across the way from the Premier Inn we're staying in, it was like a games museum. Cool. It was on the corner. I didn't get a chance to go in, but next time we go to the Sheffield event, I'll probably make a point of having to go in. But you have to book in and stuff, and you get to play on the old retro games and stuff. So there is those things happening. Mostly I didn't know it. I work in the industry. I don't really know about that. But it's only because I walked past the fucking building that I realised it was there. So, those things are out there. It's just a case of, I guess, people caring enough to get them to happen.
Because in, film, there's, the National Film Registry and stuff where they've got pressings of, the literal... old film cans of old movies, like black and white films and stuff. Or then if you think about libraries, they preserve books, and there's a specific art and practice to maintaining them and binding them and keeping them alive. But the same sort of thing's not really done with video games. But I suppose it's part and parcel with video games being considered more of an art form these days. It's still certainly not there yet, but I think you're right. As time goes on, the preservation and more cataloging of video games will hopefully happen. But unfortunately, it's one of the byproducts of the nature of games as a service, because once the service ends, the game is unplayable. If they switch off the servers, you can't play it.
That's it.
Especially if it's like a multiplayer game. If there's no one there playing, even if the servers are on, if there's no one there playing, you physically can't play the game. That's why I'm a big advocate of bots being in every game with multiplayer. Just allow me to play offline with bots or offline locally or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think eventually, ideally, we'll get to the point where there's some body, some institution set up to whose sole job it is to preserve games, and they'll have just 1 million servers for for every game. Like even Anthem in 10 years, when Anthem's just a fart in the wind and no one remembers it.
Isn't that what
it is now already?
You're talking about the future, dude, or right now.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so that is it for questions this week. Thank you everyone who did, although there's only 3 of you, but thanks everyone for contributing the questions. And again, if you do want to throw a question in the podcast questions thing on Discord, feel free to do that, because 4 isn't enough, really. Let's be honest, we need more than that. And you know, if you've got anything at all that you want to ask us, feel free to throw them in there. And if you're not a subscriber, if you're not a supporter on Patreon right now, you want to ask us a question, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You can get access from as little as 1 single coin. A one coin to your Witcher, coin to your YouTuber. Okay, I know that triggers people, so I'll say it. So let's move on today to the triggered fanboy comment of the week. Now, this is not so much a fanboy. Well, it is. I'll just read it and we'll decide together. So, the Warcraft 3 Reforged video has the worst user score of any game. That's the Daily Triple video. User Watsit Tuya comments, "You don't miss a chance to lick Epic's boots, do you? Learn that number just means that there's more people than ever running Steam in the background. People aren't going to spend every single waking moment playing something. PCs are for more than just gaming. You should know, because you'll likely use them for editing." That's as good as I got this week. So what he's talking about here is the second news story in that video, which was Steam breaks concurrent user record after 2 years. So it's like 18.8 million was the record number set a few days ago, and that broke like the previous record, which is 500,000 less than that. But this time the concurrent users was only people logged in, right? So it wasn't the amount of people
not
playing.
Necessarily live.
So there was a million less people playing, which meant that something like 30 or 31% of players who contributed to that record. Only 31% were playing games, and like the 69% or whatever was remaining were probably on Pornhub at the same time or something, jacking it off.
What else are you doing if you're on the internet?
But I mean, I said in the video myself that it was probably they're either more people than ever starting Steam up when Windows launches, which is fair, or they just got it on in the background while they're doing something else. I actually said that. But I was taking the angle that is more AFK than ever. So what does that even mean? I mean,
it's not wrong.
The fact that people are logged into Steam but playing maybe on Epic or playing on Origin or something, it's not great news for Steam, that, right? There's less people playing games. It's not it's not actually good news, and people are like, yay, Steam, and they reckon. And this guy reckons that I was licking Epic's boots by saying that there's more people than ever AFK, or it's not technically AFK because they could be doing other things. You know what I mean when I say AFK. I don't actually literally mean they're not at the computers. I'm just using that as a term to kind of sum it all up. Otherwise, it's not like a short abbreviation for what I'm trying to fucking say. Anyway, that was the triggered fanboy. He wasn't really that triggered. He didn't really call me anything. So unfortunately, I'm sorry for the low quality triggered fanboy this week. Hopefully Henry's got a triggered fanboy.
Well, I've got another pseudo triggered one in front of me here from a Patreon member as well, Josuevo47. "I can't believe you're still saying toss a coin. I'm so triggered by that. I'm going to rant in the comment section on Pornhub, because that's where you find the real gold. Hamburgers are not sandwiches."
Josuevo coming through as usual.
Pornhub comments are something special. I don't know if there's celebrities read mean tweets stuff. I think Jimmy Kimmel does it. There's a channel who gets porn stars to read mean Pornhub comments. Christ, it's funny.
Yeah,
I love porn star interviews, and I think are really fascinating because there's some of them are fucking weird people, but some are just totally ordinary and just have the craziest job. But those mean comments are hilarious. Recommend it. Go watch it.
Okay, someone else who was triggered by me from last week's podcast, Hillehai says, "Right, lad on the right being a real condescending prick about severe migraines. Feel bad for the other guy having to listen to his smart ass attitude." That was my invisible violin, that's what.
Yeah, boo.
my tiny violin, because you were talking about. And I was, oh my God, I triggered him.
He's more upset than I am. Am I right,
condescending prick, apparently?
That's not incorrect.
No, it's called banter, is what it is. And if you're familiar with a sense of humour, then you might understand that I was just pissing, being a dick. I was being a dick, yeah. I was being a dick, all right. It wasn't personal.
I'm not beating my fucking self up about it.
He's not crying on the way home about it.
Yeah,
not that I know of. Anyway.
If you ever have a migraine, you'll know they fucking suck.
Yeah, they do suck. They do.
Who cares?
He's a big boy.
I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl.
He can look after his feelings. Condescending prick. I mean, I understand. Maybe you get headaches. Maybe you get migraines. But me playing an invisible tiny violin, it's not diminishing the fact that everyone in the world, these headaches aren't a real thing. I'm just making sarcasm. Light. It's my job to make light of shit. My job to be entertaining. And if you don't find it entertaining, you think I'm condescending. Maybe this isn't the right channel for you. That's just a suggestion.
Well, speaking of people who this isn't the right channel for, I got a comment from my Daily Triple. When did it? I think it was on Tuesday.
This is on my list.
This is a great one, and I think it's hilarious. From Downskated. I'm glad you thought it was amusing to blast my ears out by having to put your smoke detector in your outtakes. Thanks, unsubscribing. Well, forgive me that you didn't put a comma in, so it just says, thanks, unsubscribing.
Thanks, unsubscribing. My name's not unsubscribing. I think you've got the wrong channel there, dude. I don't give a shit. I put it in because it was funny. It was a bit louder.
It was loud, but that's the point. It's supposed to hurt, and it's so fucking what? I don't care. Unsub if you want, but it was funny. And
how dare you not consider the people's hearing?
I don't give a shit.
If it was over 85 decibels, then you might have the HSE on your back.
Fuck them, what are they going to do?
Anyway, I have one last one, and it's relating to a joke, the dad joke, which is a good segue. Yeah. So if you've got any more you want to read.
I did have one somewhere. Oh yeah, this one I quite enjoyed. From, what video was it on? Oh, last week's podcast. There we go. From Daniel Clark Hughes.
Long-time subscriber, long-time follower. Thank you for your comments, sir.
YouTube perception, flexing, interviews, drama, YouTube reality, triggered comments, sitting under a blanket to dampen the sound.
Absolutely.
It works. And I had to do it again the other day, which links me into another comment, just bear with me. 2 in a row. On Fallout 76 had done something, I can't even remember what they did. Wastelanders, it's finally coming, finally actually making a proper game out of it.
April the 6th, isn't it?
Something like that. So Stephen Bayer said, "Did you sleep in again?" And Bo 2, have you just gave up recording? No, I work at home on Wednesdays because it's easier than coming in, and
Hump Day. Who wants to work on Hump Day? Who wants to come to the office on Hump Day, right?
And have you just gave up recording? I don't know if you understand how capturing digital information and reproducing it in a video works. But that is recording. Yeah. It's audio recording. And have you just gave up? No, I haven't just gave up.
Not given up either.
No.
Lol.
And I did. Well, technically I did sleep in because I didn't have to get up so early to travel the huge journey to arrive here.
I've got another comment. So I'm going to read off your screen. So Daniel Snyder says, what would you guys do if there were 4 news stories in one day? Because we do the daily triple. It's a good question. But there are...
The daily quadruple doesn't have the same ring.
And thinking about it, it's just like confusing people by putting like 10 news stories in one daily triple, or even just calling it a daily triple, and just doing as many news stories as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And still calling it a daily triple.
An hour long.
And then people will be like, what do you mean daily triple? There's loads of news stories.
It's not exactly triple. You can't count.
I want to do that. One day I'm going to do that. I'm just going to throw a curveball and put like 4 stories in a daily triple and see what people say. Just for the comments, just for shits and giggles. Anyway, I have you got another one?
I think that's my lot.
Okay, so on last week's podcast again, there's been a lot of comments from last week's podcast. John Platt says, good grief, you guys. That joke at the end of your podcast was awful and cringeworthy bad. Get some better jokes. I'm like, dude, are you new to this channel? This is the first part.
That's the point.
It's a dad joke, right? I mean,
it's
cringeworthy bad. Yes, ding. We objective achieved.
It literally says it on the banner as well on the channel. It's what does it say? It's bad
jokes.
Bad dad jokes, bad something,
games, yeah.
But desired effect has been achieved. And speaking of
which, it's time for another one of those shitty, cringe-worthy dad jokes, because it's time for dad joke of the week. Now, hopefully everybody's ready for the cringiest joke that I've heard all week. Okay. Henry, I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down.
The funniest thing about that is I didn't know you could read.
Lol. Guys, if you've got any better jokes, leave them in the comments section. Or if not, head over to Patreon, because we've got a dad jokes channel specifically for the worst jokes that you've ever heard or ever told in your lives. That's just. I did a way good dad joke at the end of today's triple. Did I spit on you then? Sorry.
No, you might have.
There was. Let me. You've probably already heard it. If you didn't, the end of Thursday's daily triple, there was a. What was the name of the Nintendo guy who announced that Metroid Prime 4 was going to be delayed? I know it's a very specific question for you.
I didn't write the story. I don't know.
But before we go, I just want to bring your attention to my awesome. It was unscripted, that joke. I wasn't even waiting for it. But the dude's name.
Unscripted, it's not going to be on the script.
Well, there was names on it, and it reminded me. So his name was. Where's his name? Did it? See Nintendo music. Shinya Takahashi. I messed up the pronunciation, and I was like, I've seen your Takahashi. You know, like a sleazeball might say.
Wow.
I've seen your Takahashi.
Wow.
I've seen your Takahashi. Boom.
I thought you were going to make a joke about Dean Takahashi because he can't play video games.
I've seen your Takahashi. Anyway, on that note of Please the go. Cringiest jokes of the week, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for following, subscribing, following us on or supporting us on Patreon and all that good stuff, because it really helps the channel. And that is it for this week. On behalf of Mr. Henry, what was the name you give yourself?
Oh, fuck. Danger something.
Danger Boy.
Danger Man.
Henry Danger Boy Cooper. And myself, Mr. Gareth Evans. We will see you again in the next podcast. Until then, bye for now.